like being difficult. I don't know why. But welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, my hair is puffy on that side, but not on this one. Thank you so much for joining the live. Today we're gonna be wrapping up the Hold On to You series. We're gonna kickstart. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me make sure I got my comments up here. Okay. Do we got it? Okay. All right. So today we are going to be wrapping up the Hold On to You series. I want to thank you for joining the live. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to make sure that you drop in the comments where you're joining from. Drop your name, say hey, greet us in some type of way inside of the comments, please. Hey, there we go. Hey. Okay. Let me get my thing together here. All right, so I know I didn't promote it, but I have been letting you guys know ahead of time that we are going to be joining. Hey, Latika. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Alicia. I appreciate you joining. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all more than y'all know. So today we're going to continue our Hold On to You series. And I want you guys to, we've been exploring for the past 3 weeks now. This is the fourth week. We've been exploring, ways that we can maintain our identity outside of motherhood and marriage. And so today we're going to be wrapping it up. And I don't want that to get confused with closing out Kickback with Courtney, because we are still going to have Kickback with Courtney at 2, but we're wrapping up the series Hold On to You. So we're going to finish things up today. If you are watching the playback, make sure that you put hashtag playback in the comments, and also let us know where you're joining from, because I like to know where you guys are joining from. Thank you. Here in Gastonia. Okay, Gastonia, North Carolina in the house. Hey, right? Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, you'll see like comments from a moderator. I have a moderator now for my lives to kind of, keep the conversation flowing in the chat, because I can't chat, but I'll be trying to respond as much as I can. Okay, so today we're gonna be our focus is, last week we discussed connection. So just to kind of wrap it up, since this is the last session that we'll be doing together, the first week we talked about hobbies and pursuing personal interests. In week 2, we talked about me time and making sure that we prioritize having moments to ourselves. And then last week we talked about connection, and I don't know if it was the Super Bowl and everybody was just kind of hyped, but the conversation, it was just really a vibe last week. Like, it really filled my cup. Like, from between that and the Usher Bowl, the Usher concert, and then landing some Usher tickets, like, my week was made last weekend. I mean, we were all vibing and having really good conversation. Denver. Okay, shout out to Colorado. Hey. But anyway, we made sure we talked about connection, and with connection, you guys, we were talking about how staying connected and prioritizing our friendships, how having those units and having those supports outside of our household were so beneficial. We discussed different ways that our friendships add to our lives and how they enrich our lives. And so today we're going to talk about focusing. Today our focus is setting goals, and how setting goals can actually assist us in also maintaining our individuality. Okay, so we're talking about setting goals here. All right, so let's go ahead and start it off. I want you guys to share with us in the comments, when was the last time that you achieved something for you? When was the last time that you achieved something for you? Okay. Let us know. Share with us. When was the last time that you achieved something for you? Something that is not related to you being a mom, not related to you being a wife, or connected to somebody in some type of relationship. When was the first time? When was the last time? And the whole point of this is to even see if we can actually remember the last time that we achieved something for our personal fulfillment. Okay, and while you guys are coming up with what your responses are, I'm gonna jump in and give you mine. But for me, the last time that I achieved something for me was at 2 o'clock, 6 minutes ago, when I started this live. Doing these little live sessions is something that is for me. It's a personal goal that I have, to build this community and to create this space for women and young women as well. And so, like me doing things with my YouTube, I've taken all of those things as like personal goals for myself. Now, a couple of years ago, I couldn't say the same. I couldn't really pinpoint when's the last time I did something specifically for me. Everything is always tied to, like being a better mom, being a better wife, like trying to be a better person, be a better friend, be a better daughter, so it's like it's always in service of other people. So my YouTube and like content creation and getting that stuff off, all of that is for my personal fulfillment and enjoyment. And so I can say something recently. Okay, so let's think about it. Okay. And that's fine. Maybe you have to think about it. And when I say like maybe some of the goals that we have are not completely absent of our children. Like I know that I, on a personal level, sought out therapy, at one point in time. And in doing so, it was to also help assist me in being a better wife and being a better mom. And even though they get a benefit from it, it actually benefited me more. So even, sometimes the goals aren't always, maybe in a way that they are connected to our children and connected, but we still receive some type of personal fulfillment out of it. Like I actually, when I have time, I enjoy cooking, and I like to cook and try like new meals. So when I have time and I'm able to do it, even though that cooking in my house benefits everybody that's here, we all gonna eat, it still is something that I find personal fulfillment in. Okay, so we want to talk about how setting goals and why setting goals is key for personal fulfillment. When we set goals, and I don't know if you guys are thinking this way, but it could be anything. It does not necessarily have to be like career oriented or education oriented. It could be any goal. It could be a personal goal. Your goal could be that, you notice that every month you're always doing something for the house or doing something for somebody else. You might have a monthly goal to make sure that you purchase or you buy something for yourself every month, that you do something for yourself. That might be a personal goal that you have. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be tied to your job. It doesn't have to be tied to a career. Maybe it's just a personal goal. Like I want to read a book every month, or I want to make sure that I get more conscious and more aware about the food that I eat. So your goals are going to be varied, and all of us are going to have different goals. I just don't want you to think in the box of it needs to be something. It needs to be something, based off of careers or education. It could be just a personal goal. Like I want to make sure that every month I go and get my hair done. I want to make sure every month I go out and get my, self-care, or maybe prioritizing me time is a goal. It doesn't matter what your goal is, but the importance of it is that you set goals so that you can have personal fulfillment and happiness. You want to do things that support you being happy and you being satisfied and you being fulfilled in your life. And that's what we'll be discussing today. My next point is, my moderator is getting ahead of me. What is something that you've wanted to do that you've been placing on the back burner? So like, let's think about some dreams and some desires, some things that you want to pursue, or some things that you may want to get involved in. This may not necessarily be a hobby or something like that, but what is something that you've been wanting to do, but because of family, because of busy schedules, because of marriage, you've been kind of like pushing it to the side, like, oh, well, when the kids get older, I'll do it. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that, JP. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Yes. Okay, so I want you to share with me, what is something that you've been wanting to do that you've been placing, on hold? What is on pause in your life right now? And I would love to hear from you guys instead of like me telling you what I got on pause, because I got a lot of stuff. I got like a list. I got a bucket list in my phone. currently have a bucket list in my phone from things that I wanted to do in 2023, and all I did was go in there and change it to 2024 because I didn't get to do all those things. So I got to do them this year. I mean, literally on pause. Yes, I literally had this conversation with my mom earlier, that I focus so much on what I don't want, and I need to focus on what I do want to manifest that shit. Yes. Yes, we need to focus on when we change our focus and focus on what we do want. I think that it kind of attracts it to us, you know. She want to go off the grid. Sometimes I feel like that too. Like sometimes I want to be off the grid and be low key, and I have a friend who's like a master of being all, like off the grid, and you know, I don't know. I have a fear of missing out. Like I gotta be on Instagram. I gotta know what's going on because I feel like, you know, something's gonna pop off or something's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be like, wait, what did I miss? Right? So badly. So badly, I see these people living out their dreams, and it's like my dream life. Yes, isn't it hard to like watch other people doing what you're supposed to be doing or what you want to do? Yes. Wow. Well, maybe that's something that we need to do. Maybe we need to do it on our own. Maybe not maybe across the country yet, but maybe like out of state first. Maybe we need to take small steps, which leads me into my first thing. Whenever we discover and figure out what I want to blow money fast. Can you just be serious for a moment? I want to blow money fast. Living off the grid or at least off of social media feels good at times. It does. And it's a good mental health break that we need. Okay, and she says, I'm terrible at goal setting. I'm such a spontaneous person, and a part of me doesn't want to let myself down with goals because you don't want to set them and then they not be fulfilled. And I can definitely get with that too. I get with that. I understand that. And I'm spontaneous too, to a degree. Like, you know, after a while you get tired of routine and doing the same thing. But the awesome thing about the way that I'm going to express, you know, setting goals is to start small, which my moderator got ahead of me and posted that earlier. But start small. Do something small first. And the reason why is because starting small kind of helps you create that momentum that you need. It keeps you, you know, motivated to continue to pursue whatever it is that you want to pursue. So maybe you, like for me, with me being a stay-at-home mom, it's kind of hard for me to find moments to do something for me or like prioritize me time or self-care. So in that, maybe that small thing is my goal. And so I find something that I really like to do or I need in my self-care time, and I prioritize doing something that's self-care related every day or maybe every week. And then just hitting those goals help me, you know, feel better about it. Like, oh, you know what? Last week I set a goal to connect with my friends, and I actually did. And that makes me feel good and accomplished. And so then it makes me set another goal for next week. Oh, well, next month I'm gonna have a brunch date with all of my friends. And then when I hit that, then it just motivates you to do more. All right, so make sure that we are starting small. I'm guessing you're probably on your mid to late 20s by what you're telling me, am I right? No, I'm actually 36. Okay, but I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. I do appreciate the compliment. We want to make sure that we write down our goals. I jumped ahead of myself. Write down your goals first. So like some things that are maybe coming to mind that maybe you haven't discussed in the comments, some goals or some dreams or some desires that you have. You want to make sure that you write those things down. And when I say write them down, I don't mean write them down in some journal that you're not going to use, that you're going to tuck away in your drawer and you're never going to see it until you're moving out of your house, moving somewhere else. And then you're like, oh, I found this journal. No, not like that. I want you to write down your goals somewhere where you can easily see it. So like for me, I have like a planner and that I open and I look at every day. And so that kind of keeps things refreshed. I have notes in my phone that I prioritize and pin to the top so that I look at all the time, like as a reminder that this is something that I want to do. So you want to make sure that you can access where these dreams and goals are so that you can be reminded of your dreams and your goals. And then 2, you want to make sure that you start small. When it comes to setting goals, I made a video and I don't plan to use this time to go into detail on the best way to set goals, but I will let you guys know that you start small. And when you start small, it does create that momentum that you need to assist you with going forth. So yes, I moved from Vermont to New York. but I effing thrived out there. And then my son was not happy in New York, so I did what any mother would, and I moved back where I am now. Great. So then I left my job where I was about to get promoted, and then I came back to the same issue that left it in the first place. So yeah, so I'm glad that you're bringing this up, JP, because yes, as a mom, we're gonna do what we feel is best for our children sometimes. And sometimes that requires us to sacrifice something, but we don't wanna get into the habit of sacrificing everything that we want for our children. And the reason why is because for two reasons is because it's going to mount up resentment in your heart towards your kids, because your kids are going to leave. They're going to grow up and leave and lead their own lives, and you're gonna be like thinking that they're gonna center their world around you, and they ain't. So we have to be able to sacrifice, of course, some things for the greater picture, for the whole, but we have to be mindful that it does allow resentment to mount up, and then we're resentful towards our kids, kind of silently, because it's like, oh well, I gave up all this stuff for you. And then when you feel like that energy isn't being like reciprocated, then that's kind of like when you will blow up, like, oh, but I sacrificed this for you, and da 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 da. So let's try to be mindful of the things that we're sacrificing in the name of love for our families, whether that's if we're married or not, whether it's for our children or not. I mean, our children need, everyone needs to learn how to adapt and kind of be, compromising when it comes to what each other needs at that time. And secondly, my first point was resentment, but the second reason why we want to make sure that we're not is because we model for our children. You don't want your child to grow up and have children themselves, and then they center their whole life and world around their kids. And then it just becomes a cycle, like you don't have a life. So when you make decisions for you and you do things that include yourself, you show your children that you are important. And I'm important as a parent. And so I'm just as important as my child. And what I want and what I desire is just as important. And of course, in times there are moments where you have to compromise, but it shouldn't always be in the favor of the child. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. So, I mean, y'all take with that how y'all want to take it, apply it where you can apply it. But we just want to make sure that we're not resentful, and that we are also modeling for our children the importance of self. That I'm not finna sit here and just, all my dreams are not gonna die because I became a mother. That was one of the things that, I can't say that, but I wanted to be a mother, maybe somewhere deep down in my heart. But I can't sacrifice everything because I'm a mom, and I'm not gonna sacrifice everything because I'm a wife. And there has to be something that I have that personally fulfills me and things like that. So that brings me to my next point, which, okay, let me see. I'm trying to keep up with the comments. I realize now that I'm sacrificing to the point where I'm not happy, and I'm doing so for my son. Yes. And see, you're not happy and you're not fulfilled. And even though you may not feel resentment towards your son, it's kind of like a silent killer, like blood pressure, but there may be some resentment there, and it might cause other issues. So we just got to make sure that our kids know that we are important too. Like, I'm important too. Like, yes, I love the fact that you have a basketball game today, and I'm going to go to your basketball game, but no, I'm not finna sit in the room and watch you play the video game because I'm about to go meet Grant and Tika for brunch. But I will, maybe we can do that later. Like, there has to be some type of balance, and our kids need to understand that. Okay. Hey, Bree. And, okay, 100, exactly. So yeah, so that leads me right into the next point, which is, when we are seeking these goals, I think Princess Caprice told us that she doesn't want to set goals, because when we set goals and then I don't reach that goal, it's going to make me very discouraged, and I'm going to feel guilty that I didn't reach the goal. And I feel you on that. And so that what leads me into the next point, which is, how do you guys stay focused and stay motivated when you're trying to pursue the goals that you've set for yourself? How can you stay focused and motivated to reach our goals? JP says that I wasn't even grown myself, and I put my growth on pause. I love my son, and I wouldn't change a damn thing, but I realize that now. Oh, I know. But it's okay though, because JP, you are still here. Okay. I still want everybody else to answer the question, how can we stay focused and motivated to reach our goals? But JP, you're still here. And so the things and the desires that you have in your heart, as long as you're existing, as long as you're breathing, you still have the opportunity to pursue those things. And it sounds like your son is grown now. So you're going to have to like maybe put that distance there where so that you can pursue what you need to pursue, you know? Okay. So my points for staying focused and motivated to reach our goals is we want to make sure not to compare your journey to others. And that's one way we can stay focused. Girl, you said a mouthful. It's like in the social media age, it's so easy. I think somebody mentioned that before. Like, it's so easy to get caught up with like looking at what other people are and seeing where they are and thinking like, oh, like, dang, like they done got so far ahead. Like, I'm supposed to be there and things like that. Like, just so many different things that it can be really overwhelming being on social media. So back to another point that somebody made, sometimes it's good to get off of social media and and be off of the grid for a while, because that comparison, I'm telling you, it is a dream killer. Being able to like comparing yourself to other people and where they are in their lives. We have to make sure that we're always mindful that we are all in different stages. And when I say stages, I mean like physically, financially, emotionally. I mean a lot of things. I mean, it could be levels to it. We're just all in different places in our lives. And then also we have to keep in mind, not with a negative mindset though, that sometimes like people are posting their highlight reel, you know, not from the mindset of like, which I am going to be talking about this in my jealousy video coming up in a couple of weeks, but we got to be mindful that sometimes things aren't the way people present them to be. And you don't want to have a negative mindset about that. And what I mean by that is you don't want to be miserable to the point where you're like, oh, she ain't that happy. Ain't no way that they that good. She ain't doing, you don't want to come from that type of place. Like, that's not a good place to come from. But you do need to be mindful that people are posting their highlight reel and that everything isn't the way that it posts to be. Okay. But we want to make sure that we are focusing on our own journey and what works for us and our family, and what works for me may not work for you, and what you're comfortable with, I may not be comfortable with. And so it's just kind of, there's just so many differences when it comes there. But I mean, and that's being honest. I appreciate that, JP. I'm being fully honest. I truly thought becoming a mother would be the anchor that I had always needed in my life to create some sense of solidarity and home. And I feel you on that, because once I had a child myself, I wanted to have a family, like, and I wanted to have a home, and I wanted to build that, and I am building that. And so it can be very, and I was building, and I'm building that for little Courtney, for the little Courtney and me that wanted a family and wanted that home and stuff like that. And so that's kind of loaded, JP. Girl, you taking me on another topic. But I definitely feel you, and I want you to know that I relate. I feel that way, and that and so you want to give your child. You made a lot of decisions based off of your child because you want to give your child what you didn't have. But sometimes even that can go overboard. Sometimes we can overdo it in that, because we're still losing ourselves. We can only give our children so much, and as long as we're good parents, we're good parents. But, I had to admit to myself and kind of come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be a perfect mom, and that's a different topic, JP. That's why I said you're getting me there, but I appreciate it. But yeah, I had to admit to myself, I'm not going to be a perfect mom, and I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to get everything right. And that was a hard thing for me to accept. Like, Cruz is going to grow up and he's going to come back to me, or Judah is going to come back to me, and they're going to say something that I did that affected them, and it's going to be a negative effect. But as long as I'm doing the best that I can every day to try to be present for them in the way that they need, because that's another lesson I had to learn. I had to learn how to be the parent that Cruz and Judah needs, and not the parent that I needed, because what they need is different from what Courtney needed. So, girl, there's so many lessons in that. But we can talk about it. Right now we want to talk about not being a mom. JP, we want to talk about setting goals and trying to create that individuality. But I do understand how those things can be intertwined sometimes, because your personal fulfillment and your personal goals may be that you want to be a better mom. And if that is what your personal goal is, I don't knock that. There are some women that their personal goals in lives is to be a wife and to be a stay-at-home wife, to be a kept wife and have a soft life. And I don't knock that either if that's what they want to do. All of our goals are different. I'm talking more so about, what do you have, personal goals outside of motherhood and marriage? Like, what things did you put on the back burner? What dreams or desires did you have prior to being a mom that you want to rebirth and you want to open and you want to, pursue in this year? That's what I want us to, focus on. But you're fine, girl. You ain't got to say you're sorry. You're fine. But so I want us to stay focused and motivated. So just to kind of wrap up, my last question was, how can we stay focused and motivated on our goals? And my tips to you are, first and foremost, start small, because when you start small and you have a small goal, it makes it easier to achieve a small goal. So a smaller goal can sometimes be an easier goal to achieve, and then it'll create that momentum. Once you knock that out, it'll give you the momentum that you need and motivate you to knock out your next goal, and just kind of keep going from that, like step to step to step. And also, I wanted you guys to be aware that you can have accountability partners. Get someone else on board with what you're trying to do. Maybe someone who has a similar interest, or maybe just a friend that is a really close friend that you kind of like, hey, I need you to remind me when I haven't gone to the gym, check in and just be like, Jim, just send me a text, and be like, Jim, did you go? No. Jim, a reminder. Sometimes we need an accountability partner when it comes to reaching our goals, and we need someone to kind of keep us hey, Courtney, you said that you were going to spend some time with yourself this week. Courtney, you said that we were going to hook up and connect and have brunch, and I haven't heard from you on a date. Sometimes you need that. You need someone to kind of remind you of what you said that you were trying to do, and bring that back to your mind, because we can get so lost because our schedules are so busy. And then the third point, which I've lost my third point, but the third point that we have is, I want to talk about being accountable, scheduling and planning. A mom's best friend is a schedule and a planner. And I'm working on creating an actual planner myself, because y'all, when you schedule things out and you plan it, it just makes your life easier. When you schedule out your me time, when you schedule out your self-care time, when you're scheduling out these personal goals, whatever those goals may be. Maybe you are deciding to go back to school. Maybe you want to advance your degree or something like that. You can do that as a mom. It's just maybe you need to start small. Instead of taking 4 classes, you're going to take one class a semester, kind of see how it goes, see how it works with your schedule, and then kind of adjust from there. But start small. Maybe you want to be advanced or promoted in your job. If you want to do that, start small, right? Figure out what avenues or what channels you need to do to get that advancement, and then start doing the small things to get there. But I think we often overlook the fact that you can start small. We forget what that first step can do. We always think so big all the time, think big or go home. Everything is so big. Think small. What is a small thing that you can do every day to kind of get you closer to that big goal? What can we do? Right? So yes, Evelyn, taking a jury making class right now, and it has completely unblocked my creator's block that I had. Sometimes, and that's great that you say that, because as a writer, sometimes reading other people's writing and other people's poetry, it unlocks and it inspires me to write. So that's good. That's probably, especially when you're creative, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, JP. I appreciate you. So yeah, you want to make sure that we are setting goals, and so that we can have personal fulfillment and satisfaction in our lives. I do appreciate everyone who has joined me through this Holding On to You series. We've discussed so many different topics. Yes, I use a magnetic calendar on my fridge at home. We include big and small happenings of the month, and it helps hold us accountable and stay on schedule. I like that. Okay, now, if you see on my, I'm gonna go on Amazon and I'm gonna find me a magnetic calendar. I am. because I think that's a great way too to kind of like get your family involved on what you're trying to do personally, like as a family, but then also personally, like, oh, like mom has this coming up. Like, my son let me borrow his iPad to do my script. Like everybody's trying to be supportive of the mission of the goal. And I feel like when you have a calendar that's big enough for everybody in the house to see, it's like everybody can kind of do something to be supportive of the mom, because the mom is supportive of everybody. So mama needs some support. I need some help. So like, having something where everybody can kind of like take up a spot. So when I write a bunch on the calendar, that's what it is. Exactly. And whatever I write on here on this calendar, the meals, that's what we eating. No question. Don't question it. Whatever is on this calendar, that's what you eating. And if you don't want to eat that, it's some noodles in there. I mean, all kinds of. I'm giving me a calendar. That's a great idea, and I'm going to order me one. And then when I order it, I'm going to make a short about it. Watch. So, hey, hi Erica. Thank you so much, Morgan. I appreciate you guys joining. So we're just wrapping up our session. So holding on to you was all about us, like trying to find ways that we can hold on to our individualities as moms. I hope that you guys will, dive a little deeper. Let these conversations kind of guide you this year to kind of guide what you do for the rest of the year for yourself. Prioritizing yourself. If you don't take care of you, ain't nobody else gonna take care of you. And I'm just being real. If you don't take care of you, your kid's not gonna take care of you. You need to take care of yourself. And I'm just being honest. By you taking care of yourself, you're modeling for your kids that they need to take care of themselves, that they are just as important as everyone else, and that's a really good model to be. But then also for your spouses, if you see them like pining away at stuff and not really taking time for themselves, you're also an example to them. So it's very important that we are making sure that we're maintaining our individual identities. Right, I have a liquid chalk menu on the other side for meals. I'm gonna need you to send me the magnetic calendar that you got. Please DM me, send me the magnetic calendar, because I want one, and I want the menu too. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I wanted to have this conversation because I think that it's important. Since this conversation, I've came up with a lot of other topics. I want to wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining the Hold On To You series. Next week, Kick Back with Courtney. We're meeting here, same place, same time. We're doing the same, I don't know what the topic is going to be for next week, but we're going to continue a conversation that's going to be fruitful. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can be a part of the conversation. I think that a good thing would be to do jealousy and talk about comparison next time. And that's what we're going to do. I think that we're going to talk about jealousy and comparison next time. So if you want to join us, feel free to. But again, thank you again for your time. And as always, take care of you. You have a great week, you guys. Bye. Bye-bye.